let's jump over to another category here. So, social media, organic social. Where do you see this play as a strategy, and just your overall thoughts on it for personal injury attorneys? Who have you seen that's done it well? Maybe some examples for our audience, and your just thoughts on social.
Yeah, and we'll stick to specifically organic social. And in fact, I don't know if you follow Law by Mike at all, but
Oh yeah.
if you ask me an example of somebody who's quote unquote crushing it on social, he is, and he's got Attorney Tom. They've got the following, the reach. The guys in St. Louis, I'm blanking on their name, but Ed Herman's firm,
Brown and Crouppen.
Yes, their YouTube channel. Go take a look at it. Hundreds of thousands of viewers. Fantastic, great reach. They found a way to get that reach and really, really effective for brand building, right? Because if you go watch these folks, and look, they're mixing the content up. People are always like, well, some of it is about, Ed versus food. Some of it might be more practice relevant. Law by Mike, he does legal stuff. But as a direct response play, my hunch, and I don't have access to any other data, but my hunch would be very, very small percentage of it is direct response, marketing stuff. I watched a Law by Mike video right after I was in a car accident. I'm sitting in a hospital and I'm calling Law by Mike. Instead, though, they're like, oh yeah, who's that guy on TikTok that I watch all the time? Oh yeah, Mike. I think it's Mandel. Apologize to Mike if I got that wrong. I'm going to call him up, right? I don't, Ed versus food. Oh yeah, those guys, what are their names? You call them up, right? That's the branding play. And I think that that's extremely effective. It's a very, very affordable way to, build brand and gain affinity audience. I think it's super, super effective where there's an overlap between the content you're doing and like a local play, because, if you're covering local sports, and John Morgan's been great at this even outside of social, right? He did the whole Tebow in Florida, bring Tebow to Florida thing, got national attention for it. Same type of idea. But that's brand, right? That's all about, it's not direct response. And so you see a lot of these lawyers that try to do the direct response thing, the 10 millionth video about what to do after a car accident, and think about if you're trying to actually get a following that's going to consume this stuff. If video after video is 10 things to know after a car accident, 10 things to know after your doctor screws up your surgery, 10 things to know about this latest mass tort thing, people are just going to block you. No one wants to follow that stuff on a daily basis. Now you mix it in once in a while, sure, but so organic social for brand is great. And here's the caveat. Even if you get the reach, even if you get the awareness, you get the 10,000 followers, and perhaps a lot of legal services consumers who don't know any lawyers and they follow you and they're going to make their decision by their TikTok lawyer. A lot of people, even people that are engaging with your content and liking it, they're not going to hire you for your case because you dance on TikTok. Like, did you do something that persuaded them that you're the person that's going to maximize the value and take care of them through their litigation? Not necessarily from your dancing on TikTok. Now, again, there are lawyers that do it and they do it effectively, and I'm sure that they can hashtag the show and say, hey, Guy's totally wrong. We do all direct response on organic social. I'm sure that's going to happen. But for the most part, you're talking about efficiency of time and dollars spent. I would focus on brand there, not direct response.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. I think the big thing is it's got to be entertaining. You got to have a hook to keep the user engaged. Otherwise, you're not going to get any of those signals to show up in the feed. We know that the monetization strategy for social media is first you get enough content and then you make it pay to play unless you have those engagement signals. The thing that I see a lot on social is, we're talking about different marketing. We're talking about owned, we're talking about paid or earned, right? So owned, like, you might get some followers. Like it may be really challenging if you're not, making something entertaining. You could do paid. You could blast it out, and that's an avenue. You could do some retargeting. But where I see most fail is the earned. You're not getting the retweets or the re-X's or whatever it's called now.
What is it now?
Right. The reshares and things without that, and that's the real viral component missing for most.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it actually made me think of something else. And this is a totally I'm sure you've talked about this a million times, but every time we talk to personal injury lawyers, I'm like, what are you doing to stay in touch with your former clients? Nothing. Why would I stay in touch with my former clients? And so in this context of this conversation, custom audiences, right? Like if you don't want to go just blast everybody, at least show some ads to people that already know, like, and trust you because, presumably you did a great job and helped them recover. Because that's the thing people forget. Even for referrals, it's the same thing. Oh, yeah, they're going to refer me regardless of whether I nurture the relationship. I'm like, no, they're not. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to personal injury lawyers and they'll be like, so-and-so totally forgot what I did. And I'm like, I know, because you've done nothing to nurture that relationship. It's, you're not advertising. You're not sending out nurturing emails. You don't take people out to dinner. So why do you think that people sit around and just remember your name and your firm name and are just waiting to send you a referral? Oh, no, they already know me. They're going to refer to me anyway. I'm like, no, they're not. They're going,
Yeah.
they've just met 5 other personal injury lawyers last week.
Yeah. And I think, there's a lot of the nurture strategies. You mentioned it, right? The emails, the personal calls. I heard, a few different attorneys call on individuals' birthdays. Like, what a way to show that you care and you're still a part of their life. And then that your data, my God, from your CRM, you can target that specific list. You can create lookalike audiences. You can utilize that for OTT, for programmatic. So much power in that data. And it's just making the right decision to collect it, through your CRM. Let's talk about. I love all this. Or we're really aligned on our views here. Who do you see doing some of the traditional? Where does it fit? TV, radio, billboards, kind of that flywheel of traditional.
Yeah, this is the thing I always talk about too, is it's like prioritization of budget. You've got a huge budget, you're an established firm, or you're trying to take more share of voice in an area. For personal injury, you need to have that offline presence. I mean, we even still talk about billboards now. I think the way, the lawyers I love are the ones that are doing direct response billboards with no vanity phone number, right? Like, because you think about Glenn Lerner, 222-2222. Everybody knows that. Great. So you put that on a billboard. People are driving down the street. You're hitting them over the head with 222-2222 every single day. Great. But I love these guys that are doing they just have a local phone number. Like, you think people are driving in their car and they're like, oh, I'm driving past the billboard, I'm going to call you? Or like, they got in an accident. So the only person that your addressable market is the person who got in an accident where they can see your billboard. But they have a place, right? Radios, people are still listening to the radio. And I think it's the same in a lot of these more, if you talk about traditional, the good news is that, lawyers are like, everyone's gonna be so mad at me, but I guess I can say this because I'm a former lawyer. I still am a lawyer, but I'm not practicing anymore. They're lemmings, right? So they all rush over to SEO, right? Oh, we got to go spend money on SEO. Well, guess what? The good news is that those traditional channels, they start working better because they get less competitive. The radio channels are like dying to have advertisers, and so their rates come down. TV, same thing. There's all sorts of creative ways you can buy TV to bring your costs down because, in certain markets, they're not, there's not as much competition. But, the thing is about all this stuff is you got to know who your people are. You got to know your local community, right? Because people will say that it's like you don't advertise a personal injury firm in Chicago the same way as you do in the middle of nowhere pick your middle of nowhere, right? You got to know how people are consuming media. You got to know what they're interested in. And you got to find those overlaps where it's like, if you care deeply about your local sports teams, you better that's a great audience to tap into. Be there, be on all of the the local podcasts that are talking about the local sports teams, or if you're into food, do the food thing. But whatever it's going to be, you got to know that community. The event stuff, like the local events, getting your name out there. And again, not direct response. You're not trying to put your local phone number up on a booth at your, state fair, but getting out there, giving stuff away for free, getting people to maybe you're giving away some kind of safety checklist. I know firms that have done they'll become a registered car children's safety seat installation facility. So people are coming to the firm not to hire the lawyer, but just to install their car seats effectively. But guess what? Now they're seeing your firm, they're meeting you, they're getting to know you. Maybe you get them on some safety tips list. That kind of stuff works really, really well. And guess what else? It's awesome for links, because then all these sites, these safety education sites, are linking back to you being like, hey, you're a certified, safety center. To kind of stop my rant here, it all overlaps, right? It all works together in harmony. Mm-hmm. And so, the idea that you're just going to pick this one thing, this one channel, this one tactic, and it's going to be some kind of magic bullet, like whether it's SEO or paid or whatever, it's the wrong way to do it.